You know, a dirty engine compartment is not only ugly, but it also hurts the resale value. It makes it harder to identify any new oil leaks, and it can actually make the engine run a lot hotter. I'm going to show you how to detail your engine the quick, fast, easy way, because it's really hard to do what's called a traditional wet wash. And the reason for that is because there's just so many electronic components that are sensitive in modern engine compartments that a lot of times you don't want to get degreasers, brushers, and especially a pressure washer into these sensitive components. So I'm going to show you how to clean your engine compartment just using a few things like some spray cleaners, a plastic dressing, and something to shine up the paint and keep it simple, but also keep it very safe. So what really helps is to have a variety of different brushes. And what these are going to do is they're going to help you to work the cleaner and also the protectant into the nooks and crannies, because a lot of times engine compartments, like on a modern car, tend to be a little bit complicated in their design. Now, besides a variety of different brushes, it's also a good idea to have some nitrile gloves, okay, just to make sure all the chemicals you're going to use don't get on your skin, even though the stuff we're using is very safe. I'm wearing prescription glasses, but if you don't have glasses, it's also a good idea to wear a set of safety glasses just to protect your vision. And then as far as chemical goes, we're going to use the Dr. Beasley's Opti Surface Cleaner for cleaning. We're going to apply the Dr. Beasley's plastic sealant to dress up and protect all the plastic surfaces. And then because we're going to clean the underneath of the hood where there's a lot of color matching paint, we're going to use the final finish just to add a little shine of protection to the painted surfaces. And of course, you're also going to need some form of compressed air and some applicator pads come in handy for both applying the cleaner and also the protectant. So the first thing you want to do with the Cosmetic Engine Detail is you want to blow out all the loose debris, all the loose dirt. Now you can do that with a corded blower like this one from Metrovac, compressed air with something like the Tornador blowout gun. But my favorite way to do it is using the Ego leaf blower. This thing will really pretty much clean everything out and clean it out quickly. And one of the problems, or one of the ways you get all these leaves, if you think about it, when you park in a parking lot, a lot of times they put trees in the parking lot to make the store or whatever it is look more beautiful. But then you go and park there, and of course they drop all their leaves and pine needles and things like that into your engine compartment. But this would be the first step, just this simple. And then as long as this is still intact, it's not tearing up, this is a heat or a sound deadening mat, then I'd go ahead and blow it out too. And you'll always find some of these leaves are kind of wedged into the components or surfaces there. And I just pick those out by hand, and then of course I always just give it one more quick blow. You know, if you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you'll be notified when the next video comes out. Now, the next thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead, we're gonna clean the engine compartment. And I got a tip that helps me out, and it'll help you out too. Whenever you're looking at your engine compartment, if it's really dirty like this one is, what you wanna do is you wanna kind of divide it up into its natural sections and clean one section at a time. For this next step, the first thing I wanna do is I wanna go ahead and just put my gloves on. And then I'm gonna take a look at the engine compartment and see where the natural breaks are. And then I'm gonna do like one section at a time. And the reason you wanna do this is if I spray the Opti Surface Cleanser over the entire engine compartment, while I'm agitating it in one place, it might be drying in another place. So I'm just gonna work section by section. So here's our product. We're gonna be using the Dr. Beasley's Opti Surface Cleanser, which is safe not only on the engine compartment, but also inside of the car. And then we're gonna agitate with a brush. So I'm just gonna start right here in the middle, wet this down with the cleanser. And this is where I was saying it's helpful to have a variety of different shape, size brushes. And that way you can come in here and just kind of agitate all this grime. And then we'll come back and wipe it clean with a clean microfiber towel. And this is also another area where you kind of want to break this up into sections. You don't want to try to do the whole thing at one time if you're by yourself, because then all the sludge and grime you've loosened up will actually start to dry. So take your microfiber towel and then just give this a solid wipe. And later I'm going to share a tip to make this faster and easier to clean in the future. And always be careful around things like this. This is a gasket right here, rubber gasket that's attached to some clips. And it's on there fairly well, but you don't want to knock it off because a lot of times it'll tear the rubber. Okay, so I've got this part clean. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and jump over to the driver's side. And same idea. Wet everything down. Come back, agitate with a brush. This is actually a brush we sell on Dr. Beasley's. It's a wheel face brush, but it works great for doing interior cleaning. And as you can see here, engine compartment cleaning. And the reason why is it's got these really long bristles, but they're real flexible. So again, it's always helpful to have a variety of different size and shape brushes to make this job faster and easier. So after you've cleaned all the color matching painted portions on the underneath of the hood, next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to carefully clean this insulation mat. Now this is usually a fabric and it's kind of sensitive. It doesn't like a stiff brush. So one of the things you can do if it's really dirty is take a gentle brush like this horsehair brush and just lightly kind of agitate it. This is gonna loosen up a lot of the loose dirt that's just kind of stuck on there. You don't ever really want to take and get this wet. So you don't want to be spraying this with water or even liquid chemical cleaners, you know. It falls apart rather easily, especially as it gets older. Okay, so after you've given it a good brush with something like a horsehair brush, because these bristles aren't real stiff and pokey, that's why. Then what you want to do is I got down here, these are just a couple of washcloths and I've already got them wet with just water, so they're just damp. And then just take and give it a nice soft wipe. Now that you've loosened everything with the brush, what the cloth is going to do is it's going to come back and kind of gather up anything that didn't fall down on the engine compartment. And this will kind of give it that new factory fresh look, and you can see all the dirt that's coming off of there. So I'll flip to this clean side and show you the same thing. So once you've cleaned the underneath of the hood, the next thing to do is to clean the engine compartment. Now, all engine compartments are kind of different, so they're going to be different to clean. But when I look at this, what I see is a natural break back there where the shock tower is, the very back section of the middle of the hood. Then we got a section over here where the battery's kept in another shock tower. There's kind of the middle section, then this front section and the side. So I just tackle one section at a time, and I'm going to clean it. And this is where a couple of brushes comes in handy just to agitate it, then I'll wipe it dry. And for the areas I can't really get in there and wipe, I'm going to blow them out. While I'm cleaning this, I just want to share something from a personal experience that I've noticed over the years. And what that is when you keep your engine compartment clean and then you take it in for service, the mechanics and the staff there, I just think they'll give your car a little bit more respect. You know, since it's coming in clean, they'll be clean. If you take them your car and it's just a dirty mess, an engine compartment's mess, you know, they're just not gonna give it as much respect as they would knowing that you as the owner actually put some effort into keeping things clean. So it kind of helps you on that end. It's always nice to have your mechanics take good care of your car. And here's a section that's really common right here. This is corrugated vinyl is what this is. It's an air passage for the air cleaner. And this is where you need a brush just to get down in there and loosen up that dirt. So for tight areas like this, you know, it's really tedious to try to take a section of your towel and get down inside there and get all that stuff you've loosened out. So what I do is I do the best I can with my towel. Then I go back to my leaf blower and I just blow all that stuff out like this. And as long as you move the blow around and kind of attack those tight areas from different angles, you can pretty much blow everything out. Okay, so now that we've got everything cleaned, we got the underneath of the hood, we got the insulation mat, all the plastic in different areas and components are all been wiped clean. The next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and put our plastic sealant on there. Now this is going to do two things. It's going to bring back that factory fresh look. It's also going to protect it and make it easier to clean into the future. For that, we're going to use the Dr. Beasley sealant. I got a couple techniques for this. One is I got an applicator pad here. And these work good for the big flat areas, but to get into some of these tight areas, I'm just gonna put some in this little dish here, take a little brush, agitate them, and then probably blow them out too. Let's start with the applicator pad though. Okay. Okay, so you wanna apply this just like you're putting hand lotion on dry skin. You want to kind of massage it in. Try to get as many surfaces as you can. Just work it in really good. And then we'll come back and we'll wipe off any excess with a clean microfiber towel. And then I'll show you my little brush technique for those hard to reach areas where you can't actually get an applicator pad into. Okay, so now that I've kind of hit some of these large flat areas that are actually easy to wipe, I'm just gonna take and put some of this into my little dog dish here. I use this for a lot of different detailing tasks. This is just a cheapy staining brush. Now I can bring this down and actually just kind of get into all those places that I could never actually get my hand with an applicator pad. And then we'll come back with these areas and use that high power leaf blower to kind of blow them out too, so you don't have a bunch of product just sitting in there. But it will definitely make it look like that factory finish we're all looking for. Same thing as we get over here. You got a lot of complicated areas. You can't really get your hand with an applicator pad in there, but a paintbrush works great. And of course, when you're done, you can take this over to the sink, wash out some soap and water, save it for a future detailing project. Then last but least, you usually have these rubber gaskets back here, and it's a good idea to condition and protect them. And also the plastic fascia that goes between the windshield and the wiper arms. That'll help to keep it black and looking factory fresh. Remember this one up here? Little rubber gasket right there. Okay, then next up what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wipe all the excess off the best I can, and then the places I can't reach, I'm gonna go ahead and blow those out. So I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of really tight areas that's hard to get a towel into. You could get some Q-tips, and I do have Q-tips here, but what I do is I just take and blow them really good. That'll usually blow out any excess. And then, of course, you can come back because it's gonna throw some stuff off to the side that you've already wiped, and then kind of give it a final wipe. That is looking good. So once you've cleaned and protected all the plastic, vinyl, and rubber surfaces, the last step is to go ahead and let's treat all the color matching painted portions underneath the hood. For this, I'm using the Dr. Beasley's Final Finish, and this not only cleans, it also leaves behind a layer of protection. But instead of spraying it here, which would end up getting overspray all over down below, I'm just gonna take and dampen my towel really well with this, and then I'll bring it up here and apply it to all the painted sections. And this will be the finishing touch. It'll make this stay cleaner longer, and of course it'll make it look better too. As you can see, it isn't very hard to do a cosmetic engine detail, and it doesn't take very long, and it's completely safe. Now, moving forward, the best way to keep this clean is to stay on top of it. Even if you just did it like twice a year. It's probably been well over a couple years since I cleaned the engine bay on this SUV, so it was pretty dirty. But moving forward, frequent maintenance is easy maintenance. Always remember that. And if you could, in the comments down below, why don't you share with me the tips, the products, the tools you use to do a cosmetic engine detail? And also, So if you've ever found anything weird in the engine compartment, one time I found a rat's nest. It was actually way up into the corner here on a small little Chevy car, and I pulled the whole thing out. Luckily, there wasn't a rat there. You can find links for all the products down below, and make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you thought this was interesting, how to do a cosmetic engine detail, you'll want to be notified when I show you how to do a traditional wet wash engine detail.